Welcome, everybody, to episode number 1 of True Confessions of a Car Guy. My name is Badgie. I am the executive producer of the show, and that's all you really need to know about me. The host, I'm sure everybody knows who he is. He is probably one of the best in the car business and definitely a legend with working over 40 years and working over at 49 different dealerships. Um, His name is John Gavin, who's the host and also who had this podcast in mind. And I want to introduce to you him right now as we engage in our first episode. And welcome, everybody. We hope you enjoy it. We hope it looks and sounds good, and come along for the ride. So, John, are you ready to go?
Yeah, thanks, Badgie. For everybody who doesn't know, I met Badgie when I was at a BMW store, and Badgie came in with one of the ladies who worked there. Her husband came in to get a car, and I instantly became friends, I think, with Badgie. And it's been a friendship for about 20 years, since like 2003 at least, for 4, right? 2004?
No, 2011.
No, because I met you at BMW.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, I'm sorry. We met back then.
BMW, yeah. I met you at BMW with whatever his name was. I don't want to get
And I remember, so people get a better idea of how this kind of came about. John was actually my first boss, and he gave me my first job and introductory to the car business. And, the car business forever, and I'm sure you can speak to that too. It changed my life professionally forever. And and then, I also have a passion for social media. I love to create stuff. And so when this opportunity came about, it kind of came full circle and trying to give back and thanks for the opportunity I received. And we hope that this will continue on and that it'll catch on and that people will enjoy what we're going to do.
Well, first thing I want to thank Huck for all the fine clothing they make for fishing. I'm a huge fisherman. I fish almost every day. Not great at it, but I do smoke a lot of cigars while I'm doing it. So thank you, Huck, for making great quality wear. And I'm going to get into that fact that, the car business does change people's lives because it's one of the few businesses that you can walk into. And if you work hard and put in the hours, and God knows all you car people out there, we put in the hours. I mean, you can make as much as a doctor, a lawyer, a dentist. My wife was a dentist. But nobody lets you walk in and trial a case or operate on anybody. But you can make huge jack. You make a good living. A lot of hours, a lot of work, but it gives a guy who's uneducated like myself, barely made it through. I was a jock in high school, believe it or not, and I didn't go to class and I didn't go to college, and I got into the car business because my wife was going to be a dentist and I needed to kind of keep up with the Joneses. And 40 years later, we're still together and had the car business. I owe it all to that. So I want to get into something about the car business that's going on right now that's really important. So I happen to notice that in Illinois, the Federal Trade Commission went after Leader, which, that's what they do. That's their job. And they went after Leader Automotive, and they fined them $20 million for, I don't know. I didn't really read up on that case because, it's a company out of Canada. You're not based here. I don't know what they did, but whatever they did, they paid up willingly and it's over. But that led to another case that opened up right after with Leader with a guy named James Douvas, who's a personal friend of mine. And I end up reading the complaint for permanent injunction, monetary judgment, civil penalty judgment, and other relief case against him. And this is all online, case 24-CV-13047. And there are 68 pages, if I'm not mistaken. And I started to read this. Now, I've been friends with Jimmy Douvas for probably 25 years. Never been out to dinner with him, never been out for a drink, never met him after work, never been to lunch. But I've known of him, I've talked to him, and I used to be like a consultant paid for a company that worked with him during this time period that they're talking about. And I'm reading through this stuff and I'm going, Jimmy, that was a pretty big job. Jimmy was the, vice president of this Leader Automotive in US. And there's a lot of executives in his team, I think 8 or 9 of them. And I was in on probably 3 to 5 meetings with them. But I did talk to a lot of them like every day. And I talked to Jimmy at least once or twice a week because we would talk about the car business in general, what was going on. And when I'm reading through this about the violations relate to deceptive and unfair practice in advertising, marketing, promotion, offering for sale, lease or financing, et cetera, this is not the Jim Douvas I know. He would never, there's one part that he says that he tells his team, these practices align with motivational slogans that Douvas often repeated to his staff. Buyers are liars. I don't give a fuck what the hell what they tell you. Take their money. Jimmy Douvas, I don't believe he ever said that. I never would hear that come out of his mouth. He never talked like that. The point is, all this stuff is about addendums being added to a car. Addendums are, for items that we sell in the car business, for all the car people, what they are. We put them on. It's kind of how we make money today is to sell. But if you go rent a car, there's like 50 boxes you got to check that they try to upsell you. If you go to an airline, you got to pay to put your suitcase. You got to pay more. They upsell you for seats. If you want to move to a seat, you got to pay. So the whole world works like that. Just in the car business, we're one of the few that everybody knows our cost. They know it before they walk in, and we have 10 exact dealers minimum that sell exactly what we sell new within a 40-minute ride or less that we're competing with. So we put these addendums on it. And, as I'm reading through, it's like, to me, this sounds like a disgruntled employee, PP, went out and said a whole bunch of stuff that I don't believe is true. I really don't. And addendums in 1985, 2.9 came out on Dodge Caravans. It's crazy, or $1,000 rebate. And that was a big deal. But a lot of dealers put addendums on this add-on that said market adjustment because we could finally make some real money on a car. And the salespeople, there's so many millions of us that just sell cars, and we got families and we got mortgages just like everybody else. I don't know when profit became a dirty word. I when I was selling cars, and even today, I don't get as many, but I used to get up to 40, 50 referrals a month because I really do take care of people when they buy a car from me. I make some money. They're happy. I take care of them. And that's like almost every car dealer that I hang around with or I know, and that's how it works. We got to make some money. And the poor salespeople, they're kind of stuck behind the 8 ball because if a customer already knows cost, well, we get paid from profit you don't get paid for going the other way. So yeah, in this indictment, it says that they would pay the salesperson more money if they sold, a product. Well, of course they'd make more money because most of the time they're making zero, and the customer's coming in and they have some kind of deal from Costco or some Edmunds or somebody, and we got to give the car away and we can't make any money. So, okay, God bless. We want to sell the car. We want to make the customers happy, and we do. We go out of our way to do it because we got all these Google what do you call them? Google rating. You got
Google reviews.
Yeah. So you got all these things happening, and you need the manufacturer is all over you too to get 10 stars. And my experience has been that only the people who are unhappy are the ones who fill them out. People are happy. All they do is call you, send you more people, and always come back. So when I'm reading through this, I'm like, the one part says, well, they would make more on the sale of the Xylon than in commissions for the sale of the automobile itself. Well, that's true, because we're starting at zero, and then we got to try to make something, so we sell a product. Whether these products are good, bad, or indifferent, a couple of them here. I'm looking at some of these where they say, oh, we bought a 16 Hyundai Elantra with 100,000 miles, sold by one of the leader stores for $96.25. Well, I looked that car up. That car still, with 113,000 listed today, is $9,500. So this was in 2023. So sounds like a pretty good deal to me. They're pissed off, or what the case is about is that they bought this product and they bought a road hazard. Well, I don't know about you, but I lived in Chicago for 60 years. Drive downtown, you'll hit about a pothole about every 100 yards you go down North Avenue or Division or something. So I don't see anything wrong with that. Number two, they sold a 15 Equinox with 70,000 miles. Well, I looked for $13,488. Well, I looked that one up. With 77,000 miles right now online is $14,900. So another good deal. And they had to pay again for this product and a vehicle service contract. Well, if you're buying a 15 with 70,000 miles and you don't have a service contract on it, you could be in some really big trouble if something blows. And the odds are pretty good that something's going to break on cars. Nothing's made like it used to be. Refrigerators 5 years in shot, TVs, a computer, your iPhone, you're updating every 2 years. So if you don't have some kind of coverage on a car, you could really be getting in big mistake. I'm not saying do that on a brand new car, whatever, how long you keep it. But to take at the time, 8-year-old car and not have a warranty could have a big problem. But they gave them a good deal. Another one, 2023 Kia Sorento, 68,000. Sold it for a whole $12,895. The car's going for $14,900 right now. Now, I'm telling you these numbers. I am an expert when it comes to the price of a car. I am. That's what I did for forever. And I work for a company to help people to price cars right. So they tried to really give good deals. But the point is, now they're going after Jimmy because salespeople, managers, whoever sold products after the fact. I don't see anything in here that he's the CEO. I don't know what his title is, maybe VP or CEO, whatever it is, but he's going to be the first executive sued personally, I think, in the history of a publicly traded company, in the history of at least Illinois, I think. And it like opens a door that if I'm the GM, I know of a case. Not a case, but what happened was a guy sold a car, and I know everybody in Illinois knows this story. I'm not going to say the guy's name. I still laugh about it. But he sold a car, a 4-cylinder car, and the lady said, well, I wanted 6. So that's how WEOs really started. A WEO is that almost every dealer has one. You sign that we owe you, Mr. or Mrs. Customer, this. So, and he said, since you wanted 6, I'm going to give you a WEO for 2 cylinders. And she was moving to Florida. So just going to the Florida deal. Now, this was wrong on every level, but this was 25 years ago. This stuff did happen. They threw keys on top of roofs. They took titles and burned them. They did all kinds of crazy stuff. We've created our own monster. We any problem that the car business has, we've created it. But we had a fun time getting there. So, but getting back to addendums, there's nothing wrong with us marking up a car, especially in the climate we were in at this time frame that you're talking about. There was no leasing. There was no new cars. There was lies about our health, about everything going on was an out-and-out lie. We got to get shots. We got to stay in the house. We got to wear a mask. We can't talk to nobody 6 feet. There were no auctions. So you were lucky to have inventory. And this group was smart enough to have inventory. They got it. So they made money. There's nothing wrong with it. Profit's not a dirty word. And I think 90% or 95% of the people were really happy, and they didn't complain about anything. And to put all this on one guy, to me, just seems wrong, because he didn't have anything to do with it. I mean, in a sense that I don't believe he said that thing about the customers, buyers are liars. Now, I've heard that before, but I've heard that about every aspect of anything. Anybody negotiating is usually lying to you. You know, they're negotiating. They're trying to get something. So, but I don't think that would ever be said to anyone and say, take their money. That's not something Jimmy would ever say, or any GM running a store that I know. That, you know, we work really hard in the car business, and I did, and I know everybody. They put in a lot of hours. Car people put in a lot of hours. I know it's gotten a little easier, but you know, we work 4 9 to 9s. Monday through, one day off during the week, and Saturday till 9 or 10 o'clock. I mean, they put in a lot of hours. So for to say that, oh, now we're going to say that all these addendums were forced on people, and that they all got bad deals, and you know, we picked out 4. I wonder how many cars they sold. They're probably selling, I don't know, 1,000, 2,000 cars a month, and they're picked out four bad deals. And then they get into page 18. I'm looking at, and I'm like, misrepresentations about the ad appeared in Cars.com, which incorporates a deal gauge pricing tool. That's nothing to do with the dealer. They don't make the pricing gauge. Now, does that company send your used car manager an email 2 or 3 times a day to lower the price to make the customer even happier? Yeah. You want to know why? They want to be able to say that they sold X amount of cars off of their tool. But of course they will, if you keep lowering your price, because eventually anything will sell when you give it away, or immediately. Well, that's not what we're in. We're not in that. We're not in the game of just breaking even or losing money. We need this is a business, just like anything. Go to the doctor. The doctor is a business today. They're all businesses. They're all going to put you on the prescription. It's all a business. So to go after one guy who is a really good guy, and you know, he's a good car guy. He just is. He's a nice guy. I'm not going to say none of this happened. I'm not going to say that, but I'm going to say that the words they're putting in his mouth are not true. And if he knew it was going to happen, he would have stopped it. And I don't think he ever nobody forces anybody to take, here, you come in, there's an addendum, this is what happens. Well, this has this, I don't want it. Okay, if I can take it off, I will. Otherwise, if they're not going to not sell the car. Car sales are too hard to turn people away. Now, during COVID, nobody had any. So customers were all leaving very happy because they got a car, period. That was just the wake of how it all came about. Is if you had cars, you won already. You were halfway there because nobody had any. But to go and put all this on one guy, that he did all this stuff, that just opens season on every car dealer, on every guy who's running a store, who's got, now what's he supposed to do? Got to watch. He's going to stand in the office. I mean, there's one part about him that when they're billing out deal, they use a pad. They turn it around, you sign it, it's a computer. He doesn't even know that. He's never even been in a finance office on a delivery, I would bet. Most GMs don't. We might walk in if it's our own customer and say, hey, how's it going? Or wait till they get out and say hello and shake hands, or tell them, hey, you're in good hands. No problem. But to say he knew they were doing this and that, no. And I'm pretty sure every single thing that was sold on everything that they're talking about was line itemed in the bill of sale, because you have to today. They got a warranty that came with it, or paperwork that came with it that signed. They signed it. And I'm not saying customers are that nothing bad happens to some. Maybe it did. I mean, it happens. It's a machine. They break down. Some people, I've had brand new Honda blow up the same day. A brand new Honda blew up on the way home. Now, this is 20 years ago. So, but I've also had customers that bought a car on Friday and then on Monday came in and the motor blew and we did a complete inspection. What do? We switched them out of the car, put them in another car and started over. You don't say, oh, that's your car and you walk away. What good is that going to be? Especially in today's world, because now they got the Google, they'll go and do a Google review. So there's one part that says he paid his people. Well, wait a second. We paid people forever to get reviews. When the internet started and there were reviews, the factory, first of all, makes you either get 100 or tells you beat it. You did a bad job. It's 100 or nothing, basically. They don't even give, and the only people who don't like you are going to do them most of the time. But we used to give them a free oil change. Come on in, bring me the survey. They used to be 4 pages thick, 2 pages thick, depending Ford, Chevy. I worked at a lot of dealers, so I've seen a lot of different ones. But we'd give them a free oil change, or we'd tell them, come on in, I'll wash your car. The WEO sometimes would have an item that you could get it if you gave me the survey. I'll give you the mats. Rubber mats were a big thing because we're Chicago weather all the time. So bring me the survey. I'll give you a set of mats. That went on forever. So, okay. So he pays a spiff to his guys $25 to make sure he gets a good one. If anybody listen to this, how many surveys? I get one every day of somebody. Somebody sends me something, whether it be a swimming pool guy or the pollsters. I get that one all the time about, hey, how's the world going? Hey, should we press the button or not? What do you think? I get that one about once a month for sure. So for him to say, hey, I'll give you $25 spiff or whatever it is, that might have happened, but there's nothing wrong with that in my eyes. Maybe the factory might differ with that. I don't know. But you try to make nobody's going out of their way to give the customer a bad experience. I mean, everybody's trying. You can't make everybody happy. Nobody can. Look at the whole country, how there's half hates half the other half. It's going on right now. So you can't make everybody happy. So buying a car, that happens once, it maybe once or twice, 3 times in your lifetime to most people. It's the biggest buy they make. So dealers go out of their way to make it a good one. And then we want you to come and service with us. So to tell them to get a review and give me 10s, I get one from my doctor when I go. They make me put Google reviews up. So this is not something that's like groundbreaking and thievery and we got a bunch of people in back, like they used to tell us we made invoices. You printed that up. What are you? We got a print shop too in the back? What are you guys talking about? We got an invoice. That's the wrong invoice. Was my favorite was, that's a fake invoice. You made it. Yeah, I'm going to spend all day making this invoice a fake one for you because I want your business so bad. Shut the fuck up. Stop. It's just crazy with some of this stuff these customers will say to you. So it's pretty it's really vague on who is saying what about this. I just hope that when it gets to that point and he goes to court or whatever it is, that he wins, because this isn't fair. I mean, they already paid a penalty as a group, but to go after somebody personally for $213 million, by the way, I don't know where that amount comes from. That's kind of crazy, but $213 million, it's ridiculous. And Jimmy, he's going to come on our show when this is all over, and we'll talk about it, and maybe we'll hear some more stuff and why this all happened. But anyhow, I just want everybody to be aware that, let's do the right thing. Salespeople, managers, do the right thing. No, we don't need the kink. We got a great product. So, I wanted to talk a little bit about when I was in the car business. One time, I always wanted to tell a story. So one of the stories was about, I was working for a guy, and he's still around. He doesn't own a car dealer, and he's going to know exactly what I'm talking about. But he called me in to kind of consult and teach him the business. And I came and I was there like every day for, I don't know, maybe 3 months. And about 6 months later, he's doing pretty well. He's selling cars and he's very thankful to me. You know, meet him at dinner. He'd take me out to dinner. He paid me to do all that. It was great. But he tells me to take a look. And I said, this is 6 months later. I said, I think your finance guy's stealing. And he goes, why do you say that? I said, well, you know, tearing the deal down, you can't pull too much over the fox. I'm the fox. I just give me the deal bag. I'm going to be able to tell the story and kind of see it. I'm not bragging. It's a fact. So I'm looking at the deals, and we always had we would work a worksheet first, right? You work a worksheet with your deal because when it gets into finance, you want to be able to make sure that we're all on the same page. So anyhow, I'm looking at the worksheet, and every deal's got X amount down, and then when we go to bill it out, it's got less. So deal, 4,000, real deal, build out, 2,000, 4,000, 3,000, 1,000, 250, 7,000, 4,000. I'm like, because he goes, my grosses, I'm not making the money, and he has to lower the price to get the deal done all the time. I was like, that don't sound too right to me. So anyhow, used to be a hotel called, I think it was called Melrose. In Melrose, was it in Melrose Park? Hold on. There's a hotel in Melrose Park. Can't remember the name right now, on North Avenue. Anyhow, he calls me up and he says, I got the guy. He's been stealing. I said, oh, did you fire him? He goes, no, I got him fucking tied up. He's in the hotel room. I got him tied to a chair. He's been there 3 days. It's the absolute truth. He tied this guy up for 3 days and beat the hell out of him till he got his money back. It's a true story. So you don't steal. You don't steal when you're in the car business. Don't ever steal, especially from a guy like that. That's a big mistake. You know, we have an email, and I got guys who send me in stories all the time. Since we really started this podcast a few years ago, but I moved and we couldn't do it. So we've had this going for a while. So back a few years ago, I told everybody, hey, if you got stories, send them to me. So one of the stories, one of the guys says to me, he goes, yeah, I was listening to your podcast and it was like you're talking about the drugs and stuff. He goes, you know, I had to quit a job because I think it was going to kill me. Every day I'd have like an 8-ball in my briefcase and a bunch of cash. And I was dating all the women that would come in, and every customer that would come in, I'd ask them what they do. And then I would tell them I'd lower the rate if they give me something. Like if they sold jewelry, I'd want a ring and then I'll lower the rate. But he told me that he did that for about 7 months, and he said he was doing so much drugs, and he was partying so hard that he thought he was going to kill himself. So it's a true story. But if you guys got any good stories that you want to talk about, we couldn't mention any names, and it wasn't too much more than that. But I just thought it was pretty funny to hear that like I said, we're a pretty fun bunch to hang around with. Send them in to us on follow us at guy.
Our email address is confessionsofacarguy@gmail.com, but we're going to launch a website, and here's what's cool. You can leave a voicemail on the website. So all you have to do is click a button and you can leave your message. If you want it played on the show, we can play it on the show. If you don't want it played and just want to tell a story, you can do that too. Or if you want to be on the show, tell us a little bit about yourself, and we'll definitely consider that too. But it'll all be on one simple website that's going to be launched here within the next 24 hours. So it'll be nice and convenient to do anything you want to do. And you can also leave a review, just since we're new, just be a little bit nice.
Yeah, well, I'll tell the truth, I do. But hey, thank you all for watching, listening, whatever you're going to do. I'm hoping this gets big, not for monetary reasons, just because the car business needs to be talked about. There needs to be a sitcom about it. I want to do it. If we get enough people that are listening to this, I think we could do a sitcom. It would be hilarious. I know if you all would send in your own stories, because I got a bunch of them, and I'm going to tell them everyone that I can. I'm going to tell them all. I can tell them all. I can't name any names, but I'm going to tell them, send me what you got. And until then, we'll be out every week with a new show. And I do appreciate anybody listening or watching. Thank you very much.
Yeah. I just want to thank everybody for listening in to our very first episode. And we welcome you on this journey. You can follow us everywhere. Anywhere you listen to your favorite podcast, True Confessions of a Car Guy. And also on YouTube, every social media that you can think of, just type in True Confessions of a Car Guy, and we're going to be there. And like I said, we welcome you on this journey. And, I'm here for the fun. I just drove in traffic for an hour and a half working my job in a dealership. And this is all for fun. And let's see where it goes. And again, thank you for joining us. Spread the word of the show. And we're going to leave it all to you. So thanks again for joining us. And we will see you next week.
So long.